do think I should have done one of these at a time. Oh, the gremlins decided to get in my way again. Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. In the last year or so, I've been playing around with little tiny silicone inlays. I do sell them on the website, but that's not the reason I'm telling you. The reason I'm telling you is because I found some tiny inlays. Now, I've shown you how to make them before, but these ones are so tiny. I can't stress how tiny they are. You're going to have to see them for yourself. They fit on the top of your finger with room to spare. They're about 5mm big, but they have masses of detail. They are really pretty, and I have a set of 9, all Christmas themed. So I thought I'd have a go. I'm not really a tiny person. I don't usually do this kind of thing, but I just thought they were so cute. So I'm going to try and use these tiny inlays in some tiny things. So these are the miniature inlays. I put them in little boxes with a purple piece behind so I can actually see them. I pretty much need a magnifying glass to see these. My eyesight isn't that great, but they are a few mil big. But the detail on them is incredible. This is a little jumper, and I think you can see there it's about 7mm, which is less than a centimetre. You have a bootie, a hat, a jumper, some candy canes, a present, a snowflake, some mittens, a scarf, and a bow with some bells. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never seen anyone sell inlays this tiny. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe these are the world's smallest inlays. Let me know if you know different. I'd love to see if anyone's made inlays this small before. So I'm going to use some Let's Resin UV resin for this project. I have a discount code that's on the screen. It's also in the description box below, and that's for the entire range of Let's Resin. So I have a variety of tiny moulds. These are the smallest ones that I could find. I do keep a few tiny moulds just in case, but I don't use them very often. And I'm filling them about halfway. This little bauble mould I am filling about halfway. I'm going to try and show you where the line is, but because it's clear resin and a clear bauble, you can't really see. But it is about maybe just less than half full. Knowing what I know now, a little bit more than half full would have been better, I think. These little cabochon moulds are going up to about maybe half, just over. They are tiny, these moulds. I give all the pieces a little flick with a lighter just to get rid of any surface bubbles that may be there. Although with this product, there's very little. And this is the new Let's Resin double-sided curing station. It has a 2, a 3 and a 5 minute curing time. I always put it on 5 minutes and just walk away. Five minutes later and they are fully cured at both top and bottom, and it's time for the next layer. I do love this curing machine. So I'm going to put another thin layer of UV resin on top of the clear resin, not to the top, just a thin layer. And this is where I'm going to add my silicone inlays. And I thought to start with that I would cover them with UV resin to get rid of any bubbles. It was more trouble than I thought it would be, and they just went everywhere and I couldn't see what was up and what was down. So this was the only one I tried this with. Subsequent ones I didn't. I did manage to find out which way was down, and you put the down side in the resin. After that it was just plumping them in. I didn't mind if they had little bubbles. I put 3 in that one. Hopefully I put them up the right way. Put it on for 5 minutes and I left them to cure again. So 5 minutes later I could take it out, and then it was time to actually remove the inlays. If if I can see them, that is. I managed to find a pair of tweezers that weren't great, but they worked. The inlays are perfectly fine. That's a little pair of mittens. The second one is a gift box. And the last one is the bells with ribbon. And because I had trouble seeing them, I thought I'd give you a really close view of what they actually look like. Incredible detail. So I thought that we'd try and zoom in a bit more so you can see what's actually going on. I'm going to put 4 in this one. That's a little snowflake. I'm going to go for the little booty or the Christmas stocking. I think that's quite cute. This is the candy canes with ribbon. Probably put that upside down, but it doesn't matter. And this is the little hat, bobble hat. Again, curing for 5 minutes. Now, if you make a lot of jewellery or small pieces, perhaps your eyesight is better than mine. And trying to film this was incredibly hard because my hands were always in focus. Because these pieces are tiny. I hope you can see that. Perhaps later on you'll see them a bit better when they've got colour in them. I'm going to do exactly the same with the little cabochons. Now, when you put in little tiny inlays in anything, you need to keep them away from the edges because you're going to colour them anyway. But if you put them up against the edge, you're going to lose the design and it's not going to look right. With this little tiniest tiny one, I only just managed to get the snowflake in there. Now, I have plenty of pairs of tweezers, but for some reason I couldn't find or lay my hands on a pair that were good enough for the job. So, decided to come up with a better solution to get them out. This is a dentist's tool. I do use dentist tool quite a bit with my resin work. You can pick up a good set from Amazon for not a lot of money at all. And I do have them linked in my Amazon storefront, which is at the bottom of the description box. So I'm going to use the Let's Resin Chameleon pigments for these. This is magenta, champagne, violet, teal and olive. As you've already seen, I've already taken the inlays out and I'm just colouring the entire back and the sides and everything the same colour. I do exactly the same with the little tiny sphere that I've made as well. Basically, I did the same with all the moulds that I started. Different colours, but the same process. And when I'm happy that they're all coloured, I'm going to use some DWR plastics. This is polyurethane resin, a very quick cure polyurethane resin that is black. I think they do other colours as well, but it literally is so quick to cure this. Yet another thing that is not for the faint-hearted. You only have 30 seconds to stir this black polyurethane resin and it starts to go off really quickly. It's pretty much cured in 10 minutes. So you don't have much time to work with it at all. I only make a tiny bit at a time. So I left the sphere till last because I knew I wanted to get rid of any chance of any bubbles in there at all. I banged and I shook it. Now, this whole project hasn't taken very long at all, but I'm so excited to see what they come out like. And I can't believe my eyes. They are adorable. The little scarf, the little jacket or winter coat, whatever you want to call it. And that is the bells with a bow. The other two were that tiny, I couldn't film them in focus. But there were mittens and the little tiniest one was a snowflake. And these are gorgeous. These little long moulds had the 3 designs and the 4 designs in them. And I think they have come out absolutely beautiful. Now, you know I'm not a green person, but I do love this. I think it's so Christmassy. As for the sphere, it was a little tricky to demould, but with a little help of isopropyl alcohol, I absolutely love it. I really do. I think it's beautiful. It does have a flaw on the side. I don't quite know what happened there, and it's not quite centered, so it could be better, but I still love it. And it just got me thinking. The The sphere was definitely my favourite, so I've got out 2 slightly larger sphere moulds. And I'm going to do the same, but I'm going to put more in them. I'm filling up these 2 just above the halfway mark because I wanted the base of the sphere to have more of a volume, more clear resin at the base. And again, I'm curing them for 5 minutes. I'm now putting in a thin layer of the UV resin, and this time I'm going to put 5 of these little pieces in one of them. I could have put 6. I could have had another piece in the middle actually. I think that would have been slightly better, but I kind of arranged them so that they were round the edge, but not touching the edge. I can't tell you the exact size of these sphere moulds. They're really not that big. I think they're about 1 inch across. On the other one, I'm going to put in a tiny snowflake. I have several of these on the website, and this one is particularly my favourite. It has so much detail in it, and I just love the design on this one. I think perhaps this one should have been coated in UV resin before I popped it in, but it completely slipped my mind. I'm going to use teal in the first one. Now this is the one with the 5 inlays, and I have not taken the inlays out this time. I've left them in there. I know you probably think, well, what's she doing? But I'm taking them out once I've coloured it, because I'm then going to fill the tiny recesses of the inlays with a different colour. I thought it would be nice to see a different colour in there as well as the background colour, which is teal. I thought it would be nice to give it a contrast. So I'm going to use Golden, another colour by Let's Resin. And I'm going to fully load it up. Now I can't see what I'm doing. Every time I put a paintbrush in the little hole, I can't see where it's going. So I'm just putting loads of powder in there and giving it a good shake to see if I could get rid of any loose powder that was in there. And hopefully I'm going to get a contrasting colour in there. From what I can see through the bottom of the mould, I think it looks quite nice. With the snowflake, I'm going to do it exactly the same, but the opposite way round. I'm going to colour the entire inside with golden, take the snowflake out. I give these a little isopropyl bath when I want to clean them up. Works a treat. And I'm using grape this time. Now it's on to polyurethane black, and I do think I should have done one of these at a time. Oh, the gremlins decided to get in my way again. I suddenly realised I hadn't made the pieces to hang them with. These are split rings that I'm bending out at the bottom and pushing in so that I can fit them in the hole, and they will sit in the hole nicely and cure with the polyurethane resin inside. That will stop me having to drill in, and I have an instant hanger when I demould them. Oh, I'm doing well here. So as long as I top them up and make sure the ring is in the centre, they should sit there quite nicely. The things never go too well for me when I'm rushing. I'm more of a calm, slow, methodical worker, usually. Polyurethane doesn't give you that chance, does it? That's what happens when you're rushing. I really should have prepared these jump rings before I even mixed the resin. Don't go off on me. But it was too late. Oh, okay. Right, we'll carry on with that bit in a minute. So I've made up another tiny amount of polyurethane resin, and I just filled up that second one to the top. And the mess was real. About 10 minutes later, I could peel off this spilled bit of resin from the silicone mat. Looks quite cool though, very shiny. And I can demould. A little isopropyl alcohol definitely helps with demoulding, and those rings on the top give you something to hold and pull on to get it out of the mould. I absolutely loved making these. They were so quick and simple and instant results, more or less. And I did actually go on to make a couple more that evening as well. But these are gorgeous. Now, there are some bubbles within the snowflake, but that was because I didn't wet the snowflake prior to putting it in. But I think they're so adorable. So yeah, I went on and made some more. and these are going to be hanging on my Christmas tree. As for the other pieces, I made a couple into key rings, and if you're any good with wire wrapping, which I really am not, putting 2 little cabochons back to back and gluing them means you can have a sphere right the way round, and you could probably wire wrap a lot better than I did, but I'm still having it on my tree. I love it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've certainly enjoyed making it, and these little tiny miniature inlays are so much fun. Don't forget to go and check out toonpish.com. It's a little tiny website, but it keeps growing. Anyway, come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.